Welcome, all you misfits and metalheads, to the cutting room floor. We are from the band Cut Like This. I'm Thorn Black.
I'm Rose Blood.
And we have music right here on YouTube and Spotify. Please go check us out. Follow, subscribe, and support us. Today, we have for you an anime, and this is a good one, called Darwin's Game. Why don't you tell them a little bit about it, Rose?
All right. Well, Darwin's Game is a very interesting death game type anime. The main character's name is Kaname Sudo, and he is unwillingly drawn into this app death game by a friend of his. And at first, he really doesn't, unlike some other stories where they start off playing the game and, they kind of already know their way around. They made the choice to play the game.
They know what they're getting into. This kid does not.
This kid has no idea, okay? I mean, he just thinks it's like a regular little app thing and he doesn't really think too much of it. And then all of a sudden, he's running for his life from a crazy panda head looking dude, And
who's invisible?
Yes,
didn't mention that one.
Yes,
who's invisible?
So everybody gets a power. He doesn't know this. So he's running from this freaking dude and he has like no idea. He's like, what is happening? Because this is all to him. It's not like he is it's not like a typical isekai where he is actually in another fantasy world.
It's happening like here in our world.
This is taking place in our world.
Yeah.
Now the game does have certain ways of basically kind of shielding the actions of the people in the game from the general populace. And as a matter of fact, when somebody dies in the game, they do die in real life, but their bodies are never to be seen again. All that is left is an outline of the imprint of their bodies, almost like a sculpture. And that's
it's
actually
like a pixelated. It's like kind of like it's like a pixelated
Minecraft. Block.
It's like
a body outline.
You turn into like a Minecraft like bunch of blocks and then you disappear, but including like the concrete that you're around. So it's like a Minecraft outline of where you died on the concrete.
It's actually pretty interesting because the way that they explain it in the anime and in the real life of the anime, because they go back and forth between playing the game and participating in usual regular life activities.
Yeah, because they're still around like in regular places and cities and
exactly
places that they're familiar with.
So and also this ends up being a factor later on because certain enemies can and will hunt you down in real life. So it's really, really interesting. So in the game, depending on what kind of match it is, you will either kill the other opponent or you can submit to them. And then later on, as the story goes on, they will have other priorities. They'll have to find certain items. They'll have to do X, Y, or Z, So the game evolves over time. And as people get better at it, they also get real life prizes out of this. So
they actually, bank account.
Yeah, they hit your bank account with a lot of funds. And of course, this motivation is what sparks some serious criminals to be super into this game.
Yeah.
And of course, our unfortunate protagonist is having to deal with that.
He's just a regular guy, not knowing what his friend ended up getting him tossed into, because his friend was just like a kind of a dying plea for help, and he answered it too late, unfortunately. But now it doesn't matter because he's stuck in this situation and he's trying to figure it out. And real life criminals are all about it. They're like,
oh yeah, they're loving it because
about it.
Think about it. This is your chance to commit a perfect crime, because if you kill somebody in the game, their body is gone. So think about the implications
where's the
of
evidence?
That. There's no evidence left behind of their crime. And as a matter of fact, in the real world, people actually think of those body outlines that actually represent real dead people. People in real life don't know that. So basically, they think it's like some kind of like Banksy kind of like artist that's like leaving these sculptures, relief sculptures all over the city. If they only knew, in reality, that's a dead body,
So I like this because the main character, he starts out a little like, what's going on? And overwhelmed. Of course, that makes perfect sense. But this guy just starts playing ball. He's like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to be somebody else's victim. And he starts,
and let me tell you, the fights in this anime are no joke. As you would expect of an anime that is like a death game. The deaths are crazy. The fights are crazy. Like we said,
the abilities are crazy.
Everybody gets a sigil. That's what they call the powers here. And it's some kind of power that reflects some kind of inner desire of yours as well, or personality or whatever. You know, so it's very specific to each person. And you kind of have to just figure it out, like what the power is.
Yeah.
And
every power, even the ones that don't seem overwhelmingly strong, are good depending on the situation.
Exactly. And it's really cool to see how they play out throughout the story and how each of the characters supporting, because like we said, you can get out of a match if one person agrees to submit to the other person, right? So this leads to alliances within the game. There's even gangs in this game.
Yeah, you can form big groups, and I don't think there's a limit on the size of the group.
There isn't. There isn't. And you'll see that there's certain characters that will amass like quite a lot. And these are all going to get murderously chopped down throughout the story. So it's really, really cool. I really like the female counterpart to Kaname. Her name is Shuka, and she has a kind of like a little bit Mirai Nikki-ish vibe to her. She is actually in reality she is a good person, but
she's in the game, so
she's in the game and she will not hesitate to cut
that good person is kind of challenging to get to sometimes.
Once it's about the battle, she is relentless. She is incredibly imaginative. Her power is super cool.
Yo, this chick, she's like a mix of
she has like a Spawn, like it's almost like Spawn, right? Like the chains with like big spikes on the end.
I think she's like a mix of somebody said she's a mix of like Spider-Man and Dr. Octopus with her little spike chains.
The way that she attaches, she can actually even use them to kind of like walk. You know, like how Doc Ock does.
Yeah, or if like you're running from her, she'll just kind of like shoot it out and it like stabs in a wall, almost like Spider-Man like, but it's like, you know, this chain with the spike on it. She's pulling herself, but she controls it with her mind also. It's crazy. It's amazing.
It's crazy.
I
the
love
powers get
this
out
character.
of hand.
I love this power. She's just so entertaining to watch once she starts getting into a fight.
And we're not going to tell you Kaname's power. You're just going to have to wait.
I don't want to tell them like anybody else's power.
But it's a pretty nifty power. And then they also encounter some other pretty cool characters later on. There's a character called Rain. She's like kind of like the Micro. She's like a super brain, and like you know, her power is very predictive. So it's a really cool power. It allows her to like, even though she's like super smart and everything, and she's kind of like the person who's crafting their battle plans and stuff, she's also just like, you know, she's very much like capable of kicking some ass, and she does, and it's really cool to see her fight. And who else is in there? Sui, who's like this like water manipulation kind of person, you know, including ice and stuff like that. That's a pretty crazy power, especially if she can get you into an enclosed place, you know. But she's also got like a weird like split personality thing going that you'll see later. We don't want to give too much of that away either.
Overall, it's a good cast of characters.
Really good characters.
They play
give
really
a lot of
well with each other. The powers are very different, and they just figure out how to complement each other with what they have and what they can do. And it's just really good to watch. The main guy doesn't want to kill people.
Yeah,
but
he's definitely the softer person.
You know, it's like the harder you push him, the more he's like, all right, you know what? I've had enough. And I'm glad, because I'm tired of some of these characters that are just too much. I'm not going to hurt anybody. No, let's just run and be past. Like, no. Yeah, you know, too much of that. So, yeah, I enjoyed watching his evolution as a character and some of the other characters in his little group as well.
They do a good job of giving you a decent amount of backstory for all of these characters to see, you know, what is their motivation. Because at first you're like, why would you, why are you this bloodthirsty, or why are you this? And they actually do take some time to kind of let you know about those characters. It's not the deepest of anime, but if you want an anime that's got a hell of a lot of action, this is the anime for you.
It might not do anything new in this somewhat battle royale-esque type of anime, but it does everything amazingly well. It just
Exactly.
like from week to week. We were watching this when this was airing earlier this year in January.
Yes.
And this was like one of my favorite ones to watch from week to week. It's just enjoyable. Good characters, good action.
And it's a cool mystery because you still actually don't really know the motivations behind the people that created this game. By the end of it, you kind of feel like how Kaname feels, which is like, fuck this game, fuck these people that made this game. Like, what the hell? Why would you put people through this? They don't have any idea what they're actually committing to, once they join this game. And in the backdrop of when they go into real life, you actually see, people talking and like the news talking about how popular this app is, you know what I mean? And how it can grant you a wish. Because that's like one of the prizes, is that you will get whatever you want granted. As is most death game-ish type things. Like, like we mentioned before, like Mirai Nikki and stuff like that, is like, usually they dangle like a pretty hefty prize, in addition to the monetary prizes that they get throughout the game for each level.
The monetary
of the
prizes are happening real time, so it's not like you need to beat the game for it to happen. You survive the event and check your bank account.
Boom.
Which is why also all these criminals are in there.
Everybody in your group also gets a part of that too. So
all right. So let's just cut to the chase. This is a really fantastic, fun watch. Like I said, it might not do anything new, but it does everything extremely well. You're just going to want to watch it. So let's cut to the rating. Rose, what are you going to give this one?
What am I going to give this anime? Well, it's not finished.
The season is over.
The season is over and done. I really do hope that it comes back. I
would like it to.
It's also it's also written. The show is written by the same person who wrote the comic, which is really cool. I think that's awesome.
That's probably why it works out so well.
Exactly.
We have the same
well
intention behind it.
I think this is a great action-packed mystery death game. I think that you guys are really gonna dig it. You want to see some crazy powers and crazy fights and ingenuity really coming into play, because they really have to figure out, like, how am I going to get out of this situation? Especially with Kaname, he doesn't actually want to have to hurt people. Anyways,
let's get to the rating. I'm excited about the game.
The rating is, I get so excited because,
but I have to keep her from giving too much away. I'm like, all right, we can't spill all the beans.
All right. So, my rating for Darwin's Game, I'm going to give it a 4.5. That's my rating for it. I think you guys should all, if you haven't checked it out yet, you absolutely should. It's on Hulu. It's on Crunchyroll as well.
Yeah, the season's on fun watch. I was gonna give it a 4, but you know what? I think I'm gonna second your 4.5. It's just good. I remember how much I was enjoying this anime when I was watching it, and that's why I'm going to give it the extra half.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm giving it the extra half. Because I just thought back to when we were watching it, and like, yeah, actually, it was pretty fantastic. I think it was one of my favorite of that season. Yes, it was. It was definitely super high up.
So, yes, I'm going to second that with a 4.5. Definitely go and check it out. Do yourself a favor. It's just a fun watch. It's just really good.
Absolutely.
Really fun.
Check out some cool powers. Check out the mystery unfolding. It's not the deepest of animes, but who cares? With powers like those and the crazy fights that happen and the crazy situations that they get into, you're going to be as pumped, I'm sure, as we were watching
Every anime doesn't need to reinvent the wheel.
You're going to look forward to every episode. The great thing about it is, this is fairly new because it is from this year, but, it came out in January. So the good thing about it is all the episodes are out. Binge it. Have some fun.
Once again, we are from the band Cut Like Spit. please check us out right here on YouTube and Spotify. We have some stuff in the works coming soon.
Oh yeah.
Possible cover song you might like, so watch out. Until next time, on the cutting room floor, we're out.